Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Week in Review. Basically, if you've never seen one of these before, we're just going to go over all the videos we put out here in the Dice Tower over the past week and tell you what we think of them. And then if you want to see the full review, all you got to do is click a link in the description of this video. So let's get started.
Hey everybody, I'm Zee Garcia. Here's what I reviewed last week. So I reviewed, along with the fellas, Dinosaur World, which I rated a 7 out of 10. That was a low score. And I thought the game was very thematic, it's very engaging, but it is a little unwieldy. It's quite the sprawling game. I think it slows down. It grinds a little bit. I thought it was a little procedural. There are a ton of steps. You first do this, then do that, then do that, da-da-da-da. Eventually, 10 minutes later, you cycle back to the beginning and do it again. So I thought that loop was a little long for me. I reviewed Kingdomino Origins, which I rate an 8.5 out of 10. And this is, I think, possibly the best Kingdomino out there. I like the theme. I like the prehistory theme. I like that the game keeps the simplicity of the original Kingdomino with the tile laying and the making sets and all that. And then it adds a couple of levels above that are optional. You can choose which one you play at, and that feels more in line with Queendomino. This is not as thinky, as sort of complex as Queendomino. Not that it's very complex. But I really like what's going on in it. I like the mechanisms. I like the interaction in it. I like the fact that you are trying to, collect things and spend them for abilities, but maybe not spend them. Maybe you want to hold them back and score based off of those things. So I really enjoyed. And then lastly, I reviewed Bad Company, which I rate a 9 out of 10. It is a fantastic dice-driven game in which you have a gang of characters in front of you. And you roll dice and you activate these characters based on the numbers you roll. You have a 1 through a 12. You roll some dice. You make combinations and you activate them. You're running from the police. You are, completing heists. You are hiring new crew in this very hilarious way in which you draw some cards and then stick one as just the top half of a person on the legs of a previous person, and they match up. It's great. So the whole thing has quite a bit of humor, lots of fun action and movement. It's a very dynamic game. I just had an absolute blast with it. And then, lastly, I also did a new Unsung Gems for the letter J. This is games that I think don't get enough love, and so I talked about a few of them and just told you kind of what I liked about them. So that's going to do it for me, everybody. Zee Garcia. See you on the next one.
Hey folks, Christy here. This week I took a look at 2 games. The first was Kabuto Sumo. I gave this game a 7.5. This is a fantastic theme, really great production, and overall pretty fun game. It's a coin pusher type game where you're pushing these wooden discs onto a platform that are going to move around other things, and you're trying to push your opponent's beetle off the edge. It is like a sumo wrestling match with Japanese rhinoceros beetles. Really, enjoyable. There's sometimes it can get a little bit back and forth, but if you're playing aggressively and if you really, want to have the fun with it, there's a lot of fun to be had with it. And then the next game, I was part of a Foursquare review of Dinosaur World. This is the follow-up to Dinosaur Island. I also gave this one a 7.5. I like it a lot. It's got a few holdups for me. I wish that it would grow a little bit more and that the last round felt, perhaps a little bit bigger, but overall I enjoy it and I want a little more mitigation. But it's super fun, very thematic, kind of a joyful experience, really good looking, a little bit big of a spread, but a neat game. So 7.5 for Dinosaur World. And that's been my week.
Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and this week I reviewed 3 games. First, I reviewed The Ratcatcher, a solo adventure game. I gave this a 6.5 out of 10, just missed a recommendation from me. I feel like it has a great theme, a really nice art and aesthetic to it, but the rule book is really poor, to the point where I wasn't convinced I was playing the game exactly as intended. Couple of rough edges that needed to be smoothed off. I feel like there's a really good game hiding in there, but not quite there yet. I also reviewed Horrified American Monsters, which is the next in the line of Horrified games where you are playing, it's a cooperative game, against monsters, and depending upon which monster you pick, it'll play differently. I gave this an 8.5 out of 10 and a seal of excellence. I really love Horrified, the original game based with the Universal monsters. This is essentially the same game. It almost feels like an expansion rather than a new game, but if you liked Horrified, or if you're just attracted to this theme and like co-ops, you absolutely should check out Horrified American Monsters. And then finally, I was part of a 4-square review for Dinosaur World, the new game from Pandasaurus. I gave this one an 8.5 and a seal of excellence. Tom and I were aligned on our score on this one. I feel like it actually improves upon Dinosaur Island, which was a game that was already in my top 100. It's still a table hog, but it is not difficult to teach. For the amount of game you get there, it is pretty streamlined. I really enjoy this one. This is my go-to dinosaur game. All right, well, that's it for me this week. Let's keep it moving.
Okay, I actually reviewed quite a few good games this week. I'll have the negative ones coming next week. The lowest ranked one, just a 6, but it's for kids, is Mario the Game of Life, which honestly I thought would be horrible, but it was not so bad. Spin a spinner, have Mario go around, collect stuff, find friends, and go defeat Bowser. Not really like the Game of Life at all. Dog Lover. This is a follow-up to Cat Lady. In fact, it's almost the same game. A very solid little game about collecting cards and having your own cute dogs. A little, that's a 7 out of 10. A Little Wordy, also a 7. This is a 2-player word deduction game from the people who made Exploding Kittens, and I think it works really well. One and a Chameleon, another 7. This is a puzzle. Works for kids, works for anybody. You're just putting down chameleons on the magnetic board so that they fade into the background. Settlement. Settlement is a bigger game. It's being released right now, actually, at the Essen Spiel Fair. This one here is basically an engine builder style game, and it's good. It's lighter than I thought it would be, and there's not a ton of options from game to game, but I think some people are going to enjoy it. The Rocketeer, man, I love the Rocketeer movie, so that definitely kind of vamps into one of the reasons I gave this at a 7 out of 10. But the game itself is good. The theme is really well realized, and I enjoy it. Nice 2-player game. Cold Case, I gave this a 7.5. I took a look at 2 of them. This is essentially one of those big detective games where you have newspaper clippings and police reports, and you just have to figure out who done it. I tend to like this sort of thing. Valiant Wars. My kids and I reviewed this. I gave it a 7.5. I think Violet gave it an 8. But this is a deck-building, push-your-luck style game. A lot of fun. It's really interesting and simple and easy to get into. Then I took a look at the Thanos figure for Funkoverse. This one got an 8. This is a figure by itself is fine, but also you can play 1 versus many. I think I actually like the figure by itself better, just as another addition. But if you want to play, you know, Thanos and all his power, this lets you do that. We all took a look together at Dinosaur World. This is really good. I think it's better than the first one, maybe? Time will tell there. It certainly looks cool, and I'm anxious to look forward to the expansions. But if you want to play Jurassic World, the board game, that's what this is. And then finally, Iki. This game is phenomenally good. I really love it. It's a reprint of a game from 5 years ago, but the beautiful production, the many different options, the plethora of things that you can do, and just the simplicity, though, of the theme, moving around inside a market and taking different actions. I really, really enjoy this one. I also did a behind the scenes, take a look at the Autumn Spectacular. I, of course, continued looking at a few shelves in the Dice Tower library. I talked about 7 games to get you in the mood for Las Vegas. So if you're, I don't know, that might be something interesting, so check those out. And of course, we did crowd surfing, we did our Shoots of Marbles races, if you've never seen them, and more. More coming out this week, but until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Week in Review on the Dice Tower.